Hello, people. Volume 2, Hofschrauer. I finished it. 338 pages. Took me 3 days. Really, 2.5 days, because it's only about 2 p.m. right now. I will have to say that I think Andrew W. Field is a little bit better author. Hofschrauer, this is very well researched. And it's kind of like paragraph after paragraph of where these tiny detachments are at any given day. There was some good info in here. I never read anything before about the Fortress War that went on 2 months after Waterloo, and so that was pretty interesting. Really, all the gotcha moments were in his first volume. I want to read this little thing that Clausewitz wrote. To me, it was amazing that at this time, Prussia had not only Clausewitz and Gneisenau, but they had Scharnhorst also. And I think Scharnhorst got, if I remember correctly, I think he was mortally wounded at Leipzig. This is what, this is actually written by Gneisenau. And this is in the very beginning of the book. The worst behavior has come from Wellington, who without us would have been smashed to pieces. He did not keep his promises to be prepared to come out to our assistance on the 16th, meaning Ligny. But, not considering the defeat he caused, we chivalrously came to his assistance on the 18th. We cleared his way to Paris, for without us, he would not have got there so quickly. We saved him a second battle thanks to our rapid pursuit, for it was we who scattered the enemy, so no Britons needed to fight a battle after the 18th. The man has rewarded our many services with the most contemptuous ingratitude. Okay, and this is titled The German Victory. And this is why he titled it The German Victory. The Prussian forces were 100% German. Wellington's forces were 38% German, 36% British, 26% Netherlands. Wellington was always overly concerned about being able to get back to the Channel ports. At one point he promises Blücher 20,000 men, but he actually takes 20,000 of his men and puts them over to cover his own right flank. He's just obsessed with Napoleon trying to cut him off from Antwerp and the Channel ports. And that's not what Napoleon was going to do at all. Okay, 1 p.m. Oh, and I did later on in the book, you will read books about Waterloo where it says the Prussians didn't arrive till 7. That comes from Wellington's own writing. They didn't get there at 7, they got there at 4:30. And at 1 p.m., Napoleon could see them. So that they've already affected the battle. Okay, I got here, read. Thus, before Napoleon's assault on the Allied center had even started, he was being forced to consider the possibility of a Prussian intervention. He first moved the light cavalry divisions of Daumont and Sebervet to cover the various approaches to his right flank, and to establish some contact with Grouchy. However, as these 2,300 troopers would obviously not suffice to hold back the Prussians, he immediately also ordered Lobau to move his 6th Corps up behind the cavalry. Therefore, before the main part of the battle had begun, the Prussian maneuver had already tied down over 9,000 French troops. Later, more of Napoleon's reserves were to be committed to attempting to stem the blue tide that was sweeping up over his right flank. Time was running out for Bonaparte. And then really, I just concentrated on finishing this book. I didn't put much notes in here at all. Wellington was very slow to react when Napoleon launched his offensive. And in Wellington's own writing, one time he says 9 a.m. he was informed of the French movement. At another spot he says 3 p.m. And another spot he says evening. There is a triple inconsistency in Wellington's memoirs. That's it. That's all the notes I got. It was a pretty good book, and I'm not done yet. I've got some names written down there. Muffling wrote a book, but his was like 1847 or something that it was published. I'd like to read about Vauban, who designed all these fortresses, all these northern fortresses in France. And Clausewitz himself wrote a book on the Waterloo campaign, but I think they said that it has never been translated into English. So that's it. Thank you. Oh, this is probably going to be my last book report, too, from Florida. I got to go back tomorrow. That's it.